Constance Michelle Birdsong, Eve, mother of all living, daughter of the sun. You're looking at a picture of Jesus Christ, the Buddha, now being Govinda Singh Dillon. This is part 3 of Eve Shares, Love Your Enemies, and David Icke. David Icke says, when you face the facts and the reality of what is going on, I say this to law enforcement. There are a lot of intelligent, decent people in law enforcement, but there are some monumental morons and some serious psychopaths who are loving this now. Derbyshire law enforcement putting black dye in Blue Lagoon so people don't go there. Telling my son Jamie they're tracking him because he's been with his dog out on the middle of nowhere. Can't see anybody. Telling him it's not essential travel. The head of the Derbyshire police name may be Peter Gordon, disconnected. The Derbyshire Constabulary male choir from the Derbyshire police because they wouldn't take women. They're an all-male choir, certain sound. He has been imposing the Derbyshire lockdown as an extremist. I say to the decent, intelligent police in this country, your children and your grandchildren are going to have to live with the laws you are enforcing. Eve notes, I'll be able to look my children and grandchildren in their eyes and tell them I created technology challenged senior that I am. Over 700 videos sharing my research and the research of other citizen journalists and books at Amazon.com, on my YouTube channel. Mild Red Birdsong uploads, even on my doors, furniture, and walls of my tiny room. I have taped photos of heroes, saints, researchers, truth tellers, martyrs, including the members of the Holy Royal Family of true humans, good gods, geniuses, and saints. I did shows on Blog Talk Radio, the Coping Coach Show, educating people about world events and players at that time. I post on Twitter and Babaji Wee Wee, on Instagram, Birdsong Michelle, and on Facebook to try to inform the low information people. I've created, with God's guidance, a therapy for madness, depression, unclear thinking, fear, etc., called Talk and Share. I work 20-hour days researching and sharing, recording, posting information. I'm an investigative journalist and an empath. I have even shared the past lives, identities of celebrities, people we celebrate, as well as others. QAnon is Barron Trump. JFK is Kyle Cashew, the boy who survived the high school massacre, who Harvard accepted, then rejected when they found out he supports the U.S. Constitution. And David Icke says to the law enforcement people, you're enforcing laws of a cult that makes psychopaths look like Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa notes Eve as being Princess Kate and Prince William's newest child, Prince Louis. Meghan and Harry's son being Princess Diana. Harry's son of Princess Di's soldier lover. Meghan being daughter of Queen Victoria, great-great-great-grandmother of Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth I being Michelle Birdsong, Queen Victoria Empress of India being Robin Michelle Birdsong, being polymath Galileo, being astrologist, author with a master's degree in psychology. Robin Michelle Birdsong is the only biological child of Stevie Wonder, Steve Land Morris. Her mother is waiting for the DNA test of all the children whose mothers told them their father is Stevie Wonder. Robin Michelle is youngest child of Adam and Eve, and she is the granddaughter of the Sun, the Most High, in the sky. So goes Eve, so goes the world. My water, my urine has been dirty orange, at times brown. World body of water, the oceans, rivers, and lakes are dirty with corporate and pharmaceuticals waste. So goes Eve, so goes the world. Recently I've been drinking apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon and a cup of water a day, and I've been drinking 6 to 8 glasses of regular Poland Springs water a day. Now my water, my urine, looks just like plain water, same see-through, colorless appearance, as clean as primary water in the earth. So goes Eve, so goes the world. David access to law enforcement. Look your children in the eye. Look your grandchildren in the eye and tell me you're going to continue to enforce the laws of this fascist tyranny that's going to enslave them as much as anyone, ensnare them as much as anyone else's. Take your uniforms off. Leave the force. Now tell me how you feel about what you did before. Now you are subject to what you did before. You can't appeal to the psychopaths. You can't appeal to the morons in uniform. But you can appeal to the very large number of decent, caring members of law enforcement. What are you doing enforcing fascism? We're at a point in the road here. Well, the rest of us do. It's for me to point out what are the consequences of sitting on your ass while the morons and psychopaths destroy your future, destroy your livelihood, destroy your children's future, destroy your grandchildren's future. You go on sitting on your arse. That's what David Icke says, arse. What have you got to lose? Most people have lost everything anyway. Note, Eve. 5 or 6 years ago, Stevie Wonder kicked me, who was in large part responsible for his fame and fortune, out of his townhouse because my new starting mainstream includes my new business, my new startup, mainstream includes to the marginalized, had not yet started to generate money, and I couldn't pay $25,000 a month for his dilapidated mold and asbestos-filled townhouse. I did spend about $4,000 getting rid of the mold and the asbestos, which nobody even knew was in it before I came. But anyway, I became homeless. I lost everything except my mind, body, soul, and my strong faith in God and my hopes for the future. I was homeless for about 3 years, I think. Lots of people are now homeless. And if people don't go back to work and businesses don't start back up, many more people, many more families will also be homeless, as I once was. As goes Eve's situation, so goes the world. Why? Because she is the mother of all living. She is connected to all living. Some say we are holograms. All parts of a hologram are the same as all other parts. Parts decoded. P for present, ART for art of, T for talk, and S for share. Present art of, talk and share to help you find your individuality, your freedom. Before I left my co-op on the Lower East Side at 134 Elder Street between Broome and Delancey, I had the city plant a tree in front of the building on my treeless block. Now Trump's joining forces with people who are going to plant 1,000 trees. If we stop the so that's a as goes Eve, so goes the world, right? If we stop the geophysicists from spraying chemicals into the atmosphere, stop chemtrails, and end the crowded skies of planes and plant carbon dioxide inhaling trees that exhale clean oxygen for us to breathe, we can have clean, breathable air. Just like I detoxed my personal space when I stopped chain smoking cigarettes, when I broke the back of my addiction to nicotine. So goes Eve's atmosphere. So goes the world's atmosphere. So goes Eve's living conditions. So goes the world. I am and have been living in the worst condition on earth most of my life, which is poverty. With people losing their jobs and businesses, they will join me, Eve, in my poverty. Unless the wealthy pay the sun's heir, T. Michelle Birdsong, the $90 trillion as a payment on the $90 septillion she is rightfully due. It's up to all of you. Just remember, as goes Eve's level of economic existence, so goes yours. Remember, R for her, E for Eve, M-E for me, T-M-B, Michelle Birdsong, E for Energizer, Mother. Her Eve, remember, her Eve, me, T. Michelle Birdsong, Energizer, Mother. Is that Energizer word? I'm an Energizer, Mother. Guess so. David Icke said, what you got to lose? If you're faced with an army coming at you, if you've got some place to run, you'll likely run. But when you end up in a canyon and the army's coming through, well, what are you going to do? Armies. Decoded. Arm, A-R-M, arm, M-Y, my, as for source, speaks. Arm, my source, speaks. Attached is my hand, holding my pen, writing what? My source, my Father, the Son, speaks. Repent. Kingdom of God is at hand. That's in the King James Version of the Bible. R-E for re, P-E-N for pen. R for her, E for Eve, pen for pen, T for talk. Her Eve's pen talks for her Father, the Son. David Icke says, you know what's happened as a result of the lockdown? Humanity has nowhere to run. Eve says, when I moved into this tiny room, one of the staff members, Chris, being Satan, said, this is your permanent housing. Living on a fixed income of $823 a month before rent, I have nowhere to run because I cannot afford rent anyplace else. So goes Eve's wiggle room, so goes humanity's wiggle room. Trapped in poverty, hell on earth, usually. Earth. H-E-A-R-T, heart. H for heaven, E-A-R for ear, T for this. Heaven, ear this. You are Eve, heir to the sun's $30 septillion cost. When you, Eve, are paid $90 trillion and no longer poor, Jobs will return. Businesses will be allowed to reopen. The good people will no longer be poor either. E for Eve, I for pleasure, THER for therapy. Eve, I. Eve, pleasure therapy. Eve's pleasure is teaching, talk, and share therapy. The way people can find their passion, their mission, their love. Eve said, I stopped working on watching this video and commenting on it for a while. I'm talking about the David Icke video. When I returned, it said this video has been removed for violating YouTube's terms of service. Vimeo also removed it. They don't want you to hear what David Icke is saying. It's too real. Brian Brain Rose, this London Real TV show that is telling the truth. Oh wow, I finished it. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. So long. David Icke is a great teacher, huh?